to Good Morning Gwinnett, a division of Noise Media Network, hosted by Audrey Bell Kearney, sharing stories about people and places around beautiful Gwinnett County and beyond. Monday through Thursday at 10 a.m. Southern living at its best.
Good morning, all my Gwinnetians out there in Gwinnett land and all of you around the world listening to the sound of my voice. It is another beautiful day here in Gwinnett County. Do you hear me? It's already 62 degrees, going up to a high of 73 with no rain so far. That's a good thing. However, we know rain is coming tomorrow because it's going to rain tonight and it's going to rain tomorrow. I think it's going to rain right through the weekend. So as beautiful as it is right now, 72 degrees, it's going to be 49 tomorrow. I know for all of you who think, you know what, it's going to be Friday, it's the weekend, I'm going to go out and it's going to be cold and rainy tomorrow. So sorry, today is my Friday. Y'all know today is Thursday. Today is my Friday and I'm super duper excited because it's my Friday. You know, as much as I love talking to you guys, I need that day off. So today is my Friday. So when I get finished chatting it up with you guys, I'll be off for the weekend. However, I won't be off because y'all know last year I was talking about launching the breakfast beer. Y'all know I was talking about that. Well, I'm back on that again. My goal is to grow the Good Morning Gwinnett brand, but here's the thing: I want that beer, and I don't even drink beer. So I'm looking into some alternatives, not really alternatives, but it is beer. It's just not strong. Like I want more like a margarita kind of beer. But that's what I'm working on. So even though I won't be talking to you guys, I'll still be working on the business because I am going to launch this breakfast beer this year. I'm going to launch it. I'm just going to say that. I'm going to launch it this year. But anyway, I got a guest today, so my guest will be coming on shortly. This is going to be a good one, y'all. She is the brand builder, and I'm happy to have her as my guest today. She's also a very good friend of mine, and she's so busy. She's an international speaker and an attorney. She is sought after all over the world, and so and she is my friend. So this is how busy she really is. Like, she's my friend where I go visit her, and she visit me, and we know each other's parents and things like that, but she is a busy woman. So I have finally got a chance to lock her down, and so she's going to be my guest today. So you just sit tight because you want to stay and listen to what she has to share with you about building and protecting your brand. But before I get to my guest, let me tell you what the national day is. It's a national food day. That's what I'm going to call it, because everything on the national day today is food. National Chili Day, National Toast Day, National Chocolate Covered Nuts Day, National Clam Chowder Day. It is a national food day. Now, you could pick either one of those and enjoy yourself. Some of you probably going to pick all of them. Me, personally, I'll probably pick the National Chocolate Covered Nut Day. Y'all know I like chocolate and I like nuts. I like clam chowder. Toast is only when I'm sick. Chili, only when there's nothing else to eat. Chocolate, anytime. Chocolate covered nuts, anytime. So sad. So pick one. Don't pick too many. Don't overdo it. Too much of anything ain't good for you. Just want to let you know that. All right, let's go ahead and get on with our horoscopes, brought to you by Noted Astrologer Micah Thyssen for today, February 25th. 3 more days and this month is over. Yes. We're going into the end of the first quarter in March. We are getting, time doesn't wait. Time flies. It was just New Year's just a few days ago. Now it's February 25th. All right, let's go ahead and kick it off like we always do, and that is with Aries. You will be popular and will easily attract members of the opposite sex. Okay, Aries. You can travel for business or pleasure. However, you should be concerned about what they want in return. Nothing is for free, baby. So you can be traveling for business or pleasure. Just make sure they don't want no pleasure. I'm just saying, the opposite sex, that you're going to be attractive to them. They're going to try to take you on some trips. They're going to call it business. It really isn't. Just make sure. Make sure you know what they want in return. Taurus, hidden matters are likely to surface. Do your homework. Yeah, if you can. Someone may be trying to make you look bad. Watch out for the backstabbers. Do not confront situations unless you are sure you have a good understanding of the dilemma. Listen here, Taurus. Somebody's trying to make you look bad. Watch out for the backstabbers. They smile in your face all the time. They want to take your place. Some backstabbers. Y'all know that's my song. Gemini, deception is probable. If you don't, use discrimination. Try to make amends by planning a nice dinner for two. Any difficulties with peers could be unnerving. Yeah. Listen, somebody's trying to deceive you, Gemini. it's probable that somebody is really trying to deceive you, right? So use discrimination. Use wisdom. Use discernment, because somebody's trying to make it look bad. They're trying to make it look bad, so watch yourself. Cancer. Pleasure trips will turn out to be better than you anticipated. You may be tempted to get involved in a secret affair, a love triangle. Ooh. Be diplomatic, but stern when it comes to giving of yourself. All right, listen here, Cancer. If it's a secret, you probably shouldn't be doing it. Now, here's the thing. You're a grown person. I want to say something else. You're a grown person. But let me tell you something. Them love triangles, yeah, that's not a good thing most of the time. Somebody gets hurt. Normally turns out pretty bad. Try not to get involved if you can. Now, if you on the freaky side, do your thing. Leo. Networking will be a necessity. Opportunities to travel will develop through peers. Get together with friends for some competitive physical activities. Go bowling. You know tonight my bowling night. So I'll be bowling with my husband and my friend. I don't know who we're going to bowl against this week. Let me tell y'all something. Last week was a terrible week. I had a good week. Weeks before that, I was sucking. I had 2 great games last week, but we lost 2 games. We lost 2 games to the sorriest team in the league. I was like, this is unbelievable last week. Because my partners, they weren't feeling too well last week. I was bowling hard, trying to bowl hard for the both of us. They had to hold me up a few weeks ago because I sucked. Not last week, though. I did my thing. Virgo, go out with friends. Be careful when dealing with superiors. Pay attention to small but important details. Pay attention to the small details because they are important, Virgo. Yeah, go out with your friends. Be careful when you're dealing with your superiors. Watch your mouth, watch your tone, because that's your job. I'm sure you probably need your job, so just be careful. All right, so I'm going to go to a song. I'll be right back after the song to bring you more of the horoscopes brought to you by noted astrologer Micah Thiason. Stay tuned.
Speed.
Welcome back. It's your girl, Audrey Bell Kearney, giving you the daily horoscopes brought to you by noted astrologer Micah Thyssen. And we're going to pick it up with Libra. Outings with relatives or good friends will provide you with stimulating conversation. Time is money, and you must be ready to take action in order to reach your highest potential. Yeah, time is money, baby. Every hour is $1. Yes, or more. Or for some of you, thousands of dollars. Yeah, it could be. Some of us. Scorpio, Take your time and try not to overload yourself. Prove your worth. Concentrate on getting the job done and steer clear of office politics and gossip. I know we like the gossip. Have a heart-to-heart talk with family and find out what the problems are. Have a heart-to-heart talk with your family. Find out what the problems are. Sometimes that's like pulling teeth. I already know. Sometimes you're like, I ain't talking to nobody. I don't care what the problems are. Get on my nerve. But then on the other hand, that's your family. Have that heart-to-heart. Figure it out. Work it out. Sagittarius, take a look at your legal position. Problems with gas, oil, or water in your home may disrupt your routine. It is a good time to make changes to your living quarters that will give you more space. Yes, it's spring cleaning time. I don't know about you, but I got a lot of spring cleaning to do. I just accumulate so much mail, and I accumulated so many boxes, and I don't know where they come from. Like, I got 3 or 4 boxes sitting in my office right now. I'm like, where did they come from? So it's time to do some spring cleaning, Sagittarius. Capricorn, opportunities for travel and socializing are evident. Reevaluate your situation. Be careful not to exaggerate when interacting with your lover. Okay, Cap, listen here now. Don't over-exaggerate when you're interacting with your lover, because they could take it for what you say it is. And it may not be the truth. It may be an over-exaggeration. So be careful not to do that. You don't want to be misleading. That looks like dishonesty. I'm just telling you. Aquarius, your mind may not be on the job. Try to have patience and refrain from being judgmental. Your creative ideas will be put to good use if you dig in and do things around the house that will make your family happy. All right, make the family happy today. Be creative. I don't know what that means for you, but do it. And don't be so judgmental. Let he who judge be judged. I'm just saying. I think that's biblical. Maybe not. I might have just made that up. My fellow fish Pisces, you will have excellent ideas. Don't we always? And should be able to help your partner get ahead. Losses are evident. Losses are likely if you aren't careful where you leave your valuables. Physical work or exercise should be a part of your schedule. It should be a part of my schedule. I don't know about the rest of you fish. Physical work and exercise should be a part of the schedule. Ooh, I'm ashamed to say it is a very tiny part of my schedule. I'm talking about super duper tiny. Yes. As far as the excellent ideas, look, if you can help your partner get ahead by using some excellent, bright ideas you have, and Lord knows we have a lot of them. They come a mile a minute. I have to try to shut my brain off. I have to literally, listen, this is what I do at night, y'all, to shut my brain down. Because if I don't, it just keeps going and going and going, especially now that I'm launching this beer, this breakfast beer. I had to turn off everything, turn the TV on, meditation, and let the little things zoom around in circles. Like, they got all kinds of little things on YouTube that you can watch. They got circles, they got chakra little thingies with lights flashing. That's the only way I can go to sleep. And then I set the clock on the TV for 30 minutes so it'll go off. Then by that time I'm asleep. But if I don't do that, my mind is just going. So Pisces, we know you have a lot of ideas. Help your man out. Help your lady out. Give them some ideas to help them get ahead. That's all. All right. That's all the horoscopes I got for you today. I'll be back again Monday at 10 a.m. to bring you more of the horoscopes brought to you by noted astrologer Micah Thyssen. Now let's get on to my guest today. I'm so happy to have my good friend LeTonya F here today. She's an attorney. She's an author. She's a brand builder. She helps you protect your brand, protect your assets, and protect your family. She does it all. You need to know about investing and raising some money. She's your lady. You want to know about intellectual property? And if you're creating something, you need to know about intellectual property. Because, I'm doing this whole beer thing, so I have to get my coins in order so she can help me make sure that I'm protecting this brand I'm about to build. And I'm excited about that, even though it's a lot of hard work ahead of me. So she is the brand protector, and she is here with me. And thank you so much, LeTonya. I call her Tanya, y'all. Like, for you guys, it's LeTonya. For me, it's Tanya. Thank you so much, Tanya, for being my guest today. I know how busy you are, and I appreciate you, girl.
Thank you so much for having me. Listen, anytime you call, I'm going to do what I need to do to make it happen, right? So I'm just honored to be here. Thank you so much.
So Tanya has been. So when Tanya and I met, it was in 2013. It's funny because I don't have a lot of friends, y'all. Just so you know that I talk a lot on this show, right? I'm sort of an introvert though, for real. Tanya and I met at I'm gonna call it was a church back then. That's all I'm gonna say. It was a church back then. We met at church. And we became friends, and we've been friends ever since. And that was in 2013. And we became friends, and she was transitioning from becoming a full-time attorney, and she was transitioning to this crazy life we call entrepreneurship. And, she and I was talking and trying to do some things together, but we clicked. And I don't click with everybody. I'm not a clicker. Some people click with everybody, not me. I don't click with everybody. And if I call you my friend, you're my friend. So I'm truly happy to call you my friend. So Tanya, I know your story, but I want you to tell my listeners your story, because Tanya was not just an attorney, y'all. She is a high-profile attorney. She worked with some of the major. She worked for the government, and she have government right now as her clients. We're gonna talk about that a little bit later. But she worked for the government. She left there. She went to another position right here in Atlanta. That's how we met. Why did you decide to jump into this crazy thing called entrepreneurship? You were solid. You had a solid career moving forward, and you were poised to be like one of the top. Not that you're not the top, but in the career field, one of the tops. Why did you decide to make this crazy jump?
Wow, so many reasons, but I think for me the main reason was, quite frankly, I just wanted more. I think that whenever for me at least, whenever you work for someone else, right, especially if it's like a corporate structure or it's some type of, bureaucratic environment, which governments are, there's always a cap. There's always a restriction. You're almost like a puppet in a way, because depending on the administration, right, that's going to determine how you're able to properly service your clients, which for us, were the citizens of the United States, right? A lot of people don't realize, but technically, as government attorneys, we actually are there for the citizens and the integrity of, protecting the integrity so that citizens can have more confidence, in the government. And so the other thing too, it really wasn't okay, I'm just going to leave because I'm going to leave. It was something that I needed a creative outlet, and I started to do things like speaking engagements. Even when I was working with the government, I was doing a lot of training and facilitating. I was on national training teams. I was, doing like a lot of interfacing with like with the public, special interest groups. And I realized that, like, when I was out doing that, I was like, yes, this is what I love. And so eventually, I would just say like you said, when I was working in Atlanta, it was cushy. Let me just say that, right? Mm-hmm. It was cushy. It was easy. My workload was a fraction of what it was, prior to with the previous agency that I was with. And so I felt like, okay, now's the time. And I think that's why people were amazed, because it's like, why would you leave, 6 figures, right? Mm-hmm. Guaranteed. You're, like you said, kind of poised to move up. But one defining moment, so just to put it in perspective for you guys, when I was 32 years old, I was eligible to move to senior executive service. Like, that's how fast I moved up in the government. 33. When I was 33 years old, I was eligible, right, to move to senior executive service. I went to my then area council, and I was talking to her about it because she was kind of like a mentor to me. And she was like, okay, yeah, you are eligible. She said, but I'm going to be honest, there's a very low likelihood that you would be selected. Mm. She said, because quite frankly, you are just way too young. She said, usually you're probably going to have to be at least about 50 years old.
Oh, God.
So 33 to 50. And I was definitely not trying to stay in the same position 15 years, right?
Wow.
Like that 18 years, whatever it was. Like I wasn't going to do that. And so I knew then that I needed to really start thinking about some other alternatives. And so I knew my point is that was the defining moment where I knew that I was not going to retire as a government attorney.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And so now you decided this is not it. You've been speaking around, at different functions and different events. And so what just really pushed you over the edge? Okay, this is it. I'm about to take this leap. And how was that feeling when you did it? Because, I know when I did it, Tanya, I was crazy. I just did it. Like, I was working at Verizon. People thought I lost my mind. It's like, that's a good job. I'm like, I know, but I'm about to quit it. But that's because I'm a little nuts. I'm not quite as structured as most people. So when you got ready to do it, did you have like a savings state, or did you have a game plan in place? Because I had none of those things. No savings, bad credit, no game plan. Just I'm going to do this thing and just did it. I know for you that probably wasn't that probably wasn't the path you took. So what was your path to just making that final jump?
It was probably a cross between being fully prepared and just doing the jump.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, I did have a nest egg.
Mm-hmm.
I did have a plan. But as far as the timing of it or the transition, I went to a meeting and it was like, in my head, I was like, why am I here? Why am I even here?
Mm-hmm.
And so after the meeting, I went in and wrote my resignation letter.
Mm.
And I talked to my family like, okay, listen, this is what I'm preparing to do. Just like you, they told me that I was crazy because they were like, oh, you got another job? I'm like, no, I'm just going to wing it. I'm just going to do like this other thing. And they were like, are you crazy? So I knew, I was going to have to just do it because I wasn't going to really have any support. So for me, that's really what happened. Like, I was literally just sitting in this meeting like, why am I here?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And needless to say, about 2 months after that, I ended up actually separating from the government.
Okay. So she did it, yeah, but she had a nest egg. Listen, don't do like me. Be prepared. I just I'm doing it. And I was so unprepared. I had my daughter at the time, and she was I think she was 8 at the time. I was a single parent, no money saved up, bad credit. Literally, I had bad credit because I had filed bankruptcy when I was 24. And I think when I made the jump, I was 30, I think, or 31. So I still had about 3 or 4 years left on the bankruptcy because, it's 10 years before it's totally off your credit. So I was in bad shape. And I went and got a paper route, literally, shining the paper and slinging papers at 3 o'clock in the morning up in Livingston, New Jersey. So for those of you around them in the New Jersey area, I know Livingston. It's pretty up there, but 3 o'clock in the morning, you don't want to be slinging papers at nobody's house, shining a flashlight. So I was nuts. However, that was 24 years ago, and I don't think I would do anything too much differently except for have some money in the bank. So you made the leap, Tanya, and you got out there. Did you know what you wanted to do once you made that leap? Because I know right now, you have a great skill set because you're an attorney, but how did you know which area of business you wanted to go into? Hello?
Well, I didn't know,
okay.
And that was can you hear me?
I hear you. Mm-hmm.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay. Yeah, I really didn't know per se. I thought I knew.
Mm-hmm.
But when I got out there, I realized that I didn't know as much as I thought I did. I realized that although I had a plan, I was ill prepared because the plan was it was sort of like a continuation of what I had been doing on the side for so many years. I realized I had no structure. I realized I had no client base. Right,
mm-hmm.
which are all of the things now that, of course, when I work with clients, especially budding entrepreneurs, these are the things that I tell them. So I thought I knew what I wanted to do, and I figured, well, because I want to do this, and there are a few people that know me, I'm just going to walk into this thing, and that's not what happened. And so throughout this time, though, I had to refine. And not just refine my skill set, but I also had to define what I needed and what I had to offer in the marketplace. And is that something that's valuable? And so I've learned a lot of lessons over the years about, it's one thing to know what you want to do, and that's good. It could be a passion project, and that's great. But just because you want to do something and you have a burning desire does not mean that it's something that is going to be a sustainable business. So there are a lot of other factors involved before you can really say, okay, this is going to be a sustainable business. Those are the hard lessons that I had to learn. That, you know, again, I'm excited that I learned them, but I could have done without the process.
but the process is there. Now you can help your clients, because I have bumped my head plenty of times on business opportunities, plenty. And I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to do this thing. And, you know, people tell you, so good at this, you're so good at that. And you want to try and do them all, especially if you're like me. Like, I have tried to do everything at one time so many times. But I think that process probably has made you a huge asset to your clients, because I'm sure you meet all types of people with 1,000,001 ideas. Listen, there have been times, y'all, when she has said to me, okay, we need to roll it back. And I'm cool with it. Like, okay, she's right. I need to roll this back. You know, you need to rethink that. And she said in the greatest way, I would like to suggest, this is what she says, I would like to suggest that you think about that. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to take the suggestion. But I'm sure that you have clients that you work with who come with you with some really great ideas, but some of them aren't sustainable and some of them aren't scalable. So let's get into the business side. So you chose an industry to go into, and that's the brand industry. And that's a word that's thrown around a lot and has been thrown around a lot now, probably for the past 10 years, branding. But for the entrepreneurs out there who are just starting out and they're thinking, I got to build a brand, what is a brand?
Well, you know, you have to think about a brand in this sense, right? In the sense of being iconic. You can have a business and not have a brand. A brand is when someone mentions a name, there are things that are automatically associated with that across the board. So when we think about McDonald's is a brand. McDonald's is known for, you know, cheap fast food, right? But they're known for their French fries. You know, when we see the golden arches, right, we immediately start thinking about hamburgers and French fries. That's what a brand is. A brand is something that can be identified, right, just strictly by its name, by its logo. And that's why I just say the easiest way to explain it is something that's been built, and it's an icon, right? It's kind of like a giant in their industry.
So now, what made you decide to go into branding? Because you could have went into any legal part of business. You could have went into patent law, and I think patent, because that's how I first started out with the dolls. You know, we were going for a patent, so a patent attorney. You could have went into business why branding?
Well, you know, branding gives me the opportunity to also flex my creative muscles. Because Audrey, you know me, like I'm a creative, which is strange, right? It's like I got this strange mix of being exceptionally analytical, but also highly creative. So I don't know, some kind of mix, right? But working in that industry, it allows me, one, to flex my creative muscles and how to build assets, and, you know, build, you know, things that can be sustainable out of their own creativity, right? Out of their, you know, their own intellect, right? And like their God-given creativity. And so the other thing too is it allows me to, you know, teach my clients how to be in control of their own identity, be in control of their own message. You know, they don't have to they don't have to let the marketplace tell them who they are, right? They tell the marketplace, you know, who they are. They present themselves to the marketplace. And so, like, for me, like, those are all the passionate things, you know, about it. The other thing too is, you know, teaching people how to harness their expertise and leverage it for their own success versus, you know, someone else getting rich off of their, you know, their areas of expertise. So, and then, you know, you take that on the branding side, and now on the legal side, now we teach them how to protect that, right? We teach them about, like you mentioned, the intellectual property side. We teach them about understanding the right type of contract, that they need, the messaging. There are certain things that you can't say and do because it may be considered false advertising. There are all these different things that, that we work with people on, and we're able to do that. And, it just makes me feel good, being a fourth generation entrepreneur, I'm like, yes, because, my father, grandfather, and great-grandfather, they didn't know anything about that. I mean, they start businesses or have businesses so that they can eat, and that's there's nothing wrong with that, but you're not building a brand, right? You're just surviving.
Right. It's so funny you say that. You said something very key. You said introduce themselves to the public, like who they are, versus letting the public dictate who they should be. I thought that was so cool. For me, Tanya, I have always been that person. Like, I have always, the ideas that I come up with sometimes, I think to myself, man, people probably think I'm crazy. Like, even when talking about this beer, and I think you and I had a conversation about it, like, I think 2019. I don't even think it was last year. I think it was late 2019. And, so part of me is like, I want to do a breakfast beer. And I did do a coffee, right? And the coffee fizzled. And that was just one of the things that I did. It fizzled. I didn't have the support I needed. I didn't have the expertise I needed. And I went back, and someone I don't know if I even told you this time, but I had an investor come to me last year, and it was in April, $350,000 to open up a micro, well, it wasn't even a micro, it was a nano brewery here in Snellville. And I went out, I looked at the building, the real estate people going to put the grease traps in and all this stuff. And I swear, I was like, so part of me deep down inside was like, this is not it. This is not it. And it was so funny because I said to my husband, I said, I don't think this is the right time for this, but he didn't say anything because when we first started doing, we were super duper excited that someone was going to drop, that kind of money for us to do something. And the guy was going to be my partner. And, he was excited. I met with him and the wife. She was excited. Everybody was excited. But deep down in my spirit, it was something saying this is not the time. And right when it was time to do the lease and all that stuff, my daughter came to me and she said, "Are you sure you want to do this? Out of the clear blue sky, are you sure you want to do this?" And I felt like that was the thing that was needed for me to say, nah, I'm not ready to do this. And so I went back to him. I said, listen, I can't honestly take your money right now when I don't know what this market is going to be like, because the restaurant business was in bad shape last year because of the coronavirus. And he said, Audrey, I really appreciate that. He said, I had been talking to my wife and I kind of felt the same way, but he was going to go, he was going to still roll with it. But I was like, I can't do it. So that was a time when I was like, this is not the time. But now, getting ready to do this beer, I feel with everything in me that this is the time. And but people probably thought she's crazy, but I was like, you know what? Instead of me letting taking Good Morning Gwinnett, because it's gonna be a beer brand, a beer for Good Morning Gwinnett, it's gonna be a breakfast beer. Instead of me using my platform, not that people do it all the time, I want to build my own brand using my platform. And so, you try to go to get advertisers and sponsors and things like that, and they don't want to, they want you to have 1 million hits and all this kind of stuff. So you working hard and hard so you can promote their stuff. And if I'm gonna work that hard, I might as well promote my own stuff. So I like what you said when you said, don't let society dictate who you are. Introduce yourself to them as who you are. I thought that was pretty cool. And I'm kind of paraphrasing, but that's what I heard you say. So you work with a lot of companies, small and large, and I know you helped launch some beautiful brands like Black Mama Tea. What was that experience like?
I mean, it was absolutely amazing. One of the things in working with Black Mama Tea and Cafe is that, as Vanessa Braxton has Black Mama Brand. Mm-hmm. So this was not, although it was a new entity, and actually a new industry for her, with the tea, it wasn't new, right? Because she was already in the beverage industry, being in the alcohol industry. Mm-hmm. What I learned though in that part of the process and working is how we don't even understand how much power we have with our influence. Mm-hmm. Like, I saw this happen before my eyes. I saw her share things that she had learned, from her father, right? and just started talking to people about it, things that were high level to the average person. And although they didn't understand it all, they believed in her, right? They believed in what she was saying. And so when she positioned herself to say, okay, I've been talking to you guys about this, now is your opportunity. Because if you invest, right, you're going to be able to see the whole process. Like, you're going to be open to everything. You're going to be learning. And so she created a movement, right? But then she also created a learning environment that had a direct outcome, right? Because, hey, you come, you learn. Like, as investors, you have to be, you have to keep people aware. Now it's up to them whether they read, right? But you have to offer it. You have to offer it to them. You have to explain it to them. And this is why in the investment world it's called an offering, right?
Right.
Because it's not sales, right? It's an investment. It's an offering. That means it tells you about the risk. It tells you about the projected reward. And then now you're able to make an informed decision about, is this something that you want to put your dollars toward with the potential of making a lot of money, right? If you decide to sell, or if you get dividends, or something that now you can put into your asset arsenal and pass on to, your children or your grandchildren. So for me, what I saw was generational opportunities, right? What I saw was people who had literally never been exposed to this type of process, this even the thought process, saying, you know what, I don't know everything, but I feel like I know enough, but I believe in this person, and I trust this person to be honest about the offer and to be honest about what's going on. So then I'm going to take a chance. And as we can see, we were able to raise over $1 million, which at the time was the cap. Now there's been an approval for a $5 million cap under Regulation CF, which is the crowdfunding regulation. The SEC has approved $5 million. Unheard of, right?
Right.
So, yeah, I did. Like, I learned a lot. I mean, there's been a lot of changes that people don't pay attention to, that because the average person, thinks that they are shut out from the investment world. But there have been a lot of regulations that have been approved and a lot of redefining, laws from 1934, right? That now put people in positions where they can actually be a part of the investment world where they couldn't before. So these were all the things that I saw happen in the course of now 2 years, in working and being a part of that team.
Wow. So I know you were very instrumental in helping her, and I didn't know she had a beverage company. I just thought it was just a tea and cafe. So I didn't know that.
Yeah, she owns Black Mama Vodka.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that. Well, I'm about to go through this crazy process, and I might have to reach out to her. About to go through this whole and you, of course. And it was so funny because I was like, I know I got to reach out to Tanya to help me do this. But I know I'm about to go through this whole crazy process of getting these different alcohol licenses. And Georgia has such strict rules. I found out that Georgia and Tennessee are the worst. They have the toughest rules when it comes to alcohol distribution in the United States. I was like, so when I heard Tennessee, I was like, Tennessee? With all the liquor coming out of Tennessee? They was like, yes, Georgia and Tennessee. They have the strictest rule when it comes to distributing alcohol in the country. And so, but I'm gonna take this ride, and I'm excited about taking this ride. So definitely know I need to bring you on as my attorney. So I'll tell you more about it later. But I know that when you helped Vanessa do this thing, you helped her with the fundraising part of this. And for those who are listening, back in 2012, President Obama passed what's called the Jobs Act, and that would allow us to do fundraising, equity fundraising. That allowed us to do equity fundraising for our company, just like we would do regular crowdsourcing, like if you were going to do Kickstarter or Indiegogo or something like that, instead of giving away tokens and trinkets and t-shirts and all these kind of things, you actually give away equity in your company. And so when he passed that bill in 2012, it didn't go into effect until May 2015. So I was kind of following up until 2015, but I kind of stopped following it at that point. And I know that there were people who were raising money, but I don't think a lot of people really took advantage of the Jobs Act because I don't think they really understood it. LeTonya was able to help Black Mama T do some fundraising using the Jobs Act. Can you kind of share a little bit about that process with the listeners?
Yeah, absolutely. So there are different regulations, right, that actually regulate, this particular thing. So on the crowdfunding, you got a couple things. The big thing that the Jobs Act did was create what is kind of, I guess, commonly known as Regulation A+, right, which is a mini IPO. And so without getting too technical, it essentially allows smaller micro companies to be able to list on major stock exchanges, right? You don't have to have as much money. So basically, investors could do this by investing like $1,000 versus, a $50,000, $100,000 buy-in. The thing about Regulation A, right, or Regulation A+, Regulation A has always been there, right? But it was so convoluted, nobody used it. When they changed it, again, through the Jobs Act, there's now Regulation A+, right? That's what people call it, Regulation A+. And so that helps lower the barrier to entry. I'll say that. Now, still very technical in nature. I tend to push new businesses, and when I say new, not just new entities, right? Because although Black Mama Tea and Cafe is a new entity, the founder is not new to the industry, right? So for someone who has never done something, or this is your first time and you're looking at doing a capital raise, I always suggest that they go the Regulation CF, and CF stands for crowdfunding, that they go the Regulation CF route. Quite frankly, most smaller businesses, that's all they need anyway. Most of them not even, they're not even trying to raise $1 million anyway, right? And so the great thing about that is, although you are giving people equity in your business, you're not giving them control, you're not giving them input, you're not, they are not involved in the day-to-day operations of your business versus going to like an angel investor or a venture capitalist. Right. So that's what I like about it. Right. That's what's interesting. That's the thing that I think is very useful, especially in a time such as this, when traditional debt financing is so stringent, it actually closes a lot of people out. And pretty much the cap is really based on your ability to show profit versus being able to get people to buy into the movement. Right. And then now you're able to raise your capital to do what you need to do, but your company is debt free. Like people don't think about the totality of it. But it's definitely doable. Again, everyone doesn't need to raise $1 million. You can do more than one raise. You don't have to just do one. So it's a lot. It's a lot, and when you go to a bank and you get traditional funding, how many times can you go right back and do it again?
Right.
Right. Not very often.
Right.
So, it's definitely something. It's unfortunate with the different crowdfunding platforms, because for equity crowdfunding, you do have to be approved by the platform. You can't just do like GoFundMe and decide you're just going to put something up. The requirements are a little bit more, they are a little bit more stringent. But again, those are things that we can assist people with. We do have a checklist that, when people sign on with us, we literally give them the checklist. I know you and I have talked about some of those items, and people have a choice, right? We can assist them with it,
right?
Or they can do do some of the things, the non-legal things on that checklist, because a lot of times people have team members that do these certain functions. So my point for describing that is because that route is not nearly as costly as even a mini IPO, right, or a Regulation A+. even a Reg D, when you're going directly to investors, right? You still gotta file, something with the SEC. So Regulation CF, honestly, is what I would suggest for anybody that's starting out this way.
That is so cool. Let me tell you, when I first heard about that in 2012, I was super excited. I hadn't met Tanya yet. I had not moved back to Georgia at that point, and I was like, "Oh my God, this is going to change the game." And I believe it really has. But I still feel like a lot of people still don't know about it. Small businesses, I'm saying. I still feel like a lot of small businesses don't know about this. And Tanya, I think that a lot of them are just afraid that, you know what, that's not for me. Or I could tell you, for me, when I first heard about it, I was super excited. When May 2015 got here, I was even more excited. When I started to look into it, and I was like, oh my God, so I got to deal with all these, because it's crowdfunding. And so when you look at a crowdfunding like an Indiegogo, you got thousands, up to thousands of people that gave you $10 and $12. And I'm like, oh my God, I got to deal with this many people on a regular basis. So that's a myth. You don't have to deal with those people. And Tanya, can you address that? Because that was my fear. Like, even though I had been doing my research, when it came time for me to actually start to put my and I actually went and set a profile up and everything, y'all. I had a profile on, what was the name of the platform? WeFunder. I have a profile right now on WeFunder that's been there since about 2015. And every now and then I will get a message saying, hey, you need to complete your profile. But every time I would look at the profile, and the thought of being responsible to hundreds of people at a time who really didn't, most of them don't understand business, don't understand the risk, and think that, okay, if I invest $100, I'm going to be rich. That's what a lot of them really think, right, Tanya? They think that they invest a few $100s, into a company, they're going to be rich. And that's not normally how it goes. But I was like, oh God, I'm going to have to talk to these people on a regular basis while I'm trying to build this brand and navigate all the stuff that I have to go through. How when you assist companies in doing this, what do you tell the founders the information they should disseminate to the investors when they start to do this process? Because investors, I've dealt with them before, not on that scale, but like family and friends investors, and I had to come right out the gate and say, listen, you do understand that this is a risk, right? You do understand that I could lose all your money and you may never get it back. And they were like, yeah, we understand, we love you, we want to support you. But now you're talking about strangers. What do you tell the founders who are raising capital what should they say to those people? Because I know that was an issue for me.
Well, a couple of things. You would tell them essentially the same thing that you tell your family and friends, just in a different way, right? Because when you're presenting this type of information, you will have projected the best case scenario, because they already know the worst case scenario is that you give me your money, not you give me your money, but you invest in this product and it doesn't make it, right? That's everybody knows that's the worst case scenario. So you have to let them know. See, the thing about this process is that you can't even do it without providing that type of information. That's the thing. That's what we help people do, right? We help them create that. We help them to lay all of those things out and lay it out in a way that we usually put it, quite frankly, at about an 8th grade, what we would consider to be about an 8th grade reading level, because it has to be understandable by the average person. Because remember, with crowdfunding, you're not going to be dealing with accredited investors. You're probably not going to be dealing with people that understand investors from an investor's mindset. And you said something that was very critical when you said that you would tell them that, and they would say, oh, no, we love you, we just want you to make it, right? That's what people that are investing in crowdfunding are typically doing, right? Typically, they are investing in the movement. They are investing, they have an emotional attachment to what you are doing. They believe in the mission, they believe in the vision, and they want to be a part of it. That's how they're thinking, right? Which is why we come in, we know that. So this is why we come in, and we're able to help you structure that. Now, depending on how we work with people, like when you were saying, well, I don't want to deal with 100 people and I don't want to deal with this, we also work with people. Well, guess what? We are the ones answering those questions and, dealing with those things. So instead of you having 100 different people that you're dealing with and all of this type of stuff, we take that off your hands and we handle that. We handle the questions. We filter the questions. Because one of the things about crowdfunding is that once you have your platform set up, there's a whole process. So oftentimes you're really not dealing, well, let me say this, you don't need to be dealing directly with individual investors about your investment, because there's a lot that can go wrong. And so that's part of what we do as far as founders, is to train the founders and the staff and the team with creating these protocols, right? And it sounds, high level, right? But it really isn't. It's just like, these are the things that you got to decide, like who's going to do this, who's going to do that. Well, you have to decide that in your business anyway.
Right.
When you're talking about raising money and you're getting to this level, you're talking about real business. You're not talking about, slanging, a six-pack out of a cooler in the back of your car. Like you're talking about distributing, a beer. I'm just using that as an example.
Right.
So that's something that that you have to think about.
And it's so funny because as I've been researching this whole beer thing, it's so much right. So of course you need the capital to even get off the ground, right? Let me just say that. But just to understand, you need an attorney to help you understand all the legalese that go along with the different states and the regulations, because the way we sell beer here in Georgia is not the way they sell it in California. And I'm talking about for real, it's not. It's totally different. I found out that I personally could not sell my beer on Amazon because I live in Georgia. It's like crazy stuff like that. And you'll go to Amazon and you'll see beer, right? But that person live in North Carolina where they can self-distribute their own beer. When I tell you, I know for a fact that I'm going into some uncharted waters that I don't really know about. But here's the thing. I'm up for the challenge, And now that I have a little bit more time, because, my mom was my life and I spent a lot of time with her. But she's going on to the big business in the sky. I'm going to go ahead and make sure that, and we were going to talk about this, but we're pretty much out of time and I have to bring Tanya back. Create this generational wealth. Tanya and I talk about this all the time, creating generational wealth and leaving a legacy back here for our families. And when I tell you I've had a lot of time to think about this is why I have come back to the beer once again. And again, I'm tying it to my podcast because I know that the podcast is a powerful platform. And when I looked at everything I was doing, and I had a meeting with the ad company last week, and my podcast is a little bit different. It's not like everybody else's podcast where they interview the guests, they record it, they clean it up. It's live. So you're listening to LeTonya right now tell y'all this great information. It's live. And so most podcasters don't do that. They record, they edit, they do all these different things. My show is live 4 days a week. So that's a little bit different. So I think the ad company felt a little bit, uneasy because I'm on there talking trash about politics and, but that's my show. That's what I like to do. And I'm not trying to change that to bend to somebody. You know what I'm saying? So when I sat there and I thought about that and I went on vacation for a week, for 4 days with my daughter and one of my best friends, and I had time to think about that, and I was like, I want to build generational wealth. I need to leave a legacy back in when I'm gone, and that's really important to me. And I'm going to ask LeTonya to come back again. I know she's extremely busy, but we're going to talk about what does that mean and how do you put your business under trust and things like that. I realized I feel like I can do that with this beer, right? And it sounds crazy because there's so much beer on the market, and it's such an overcrowded industry. Here's the thing. Mostly every industry that's doing great business is overcrowded. It's how do you stand out? That's why branding and messaging is so important. And that's why, I'm glad she's my friend, because she, I'm going to hire her to help me make this thing possible. And so, Tanya, all the information you have given today, and we could go on and on and on, y'all. We really could. And I will promise I'll, check Tanya's schedule and would you come back if you got some time?
Absolutely. Anytime. Yeah.
So, this whole crowdfunding thing, I know you said there's a checklist. Do the people have to be a client to get the checklist, or is that like a freebie that you give away just to get them started? And if so, how do they contact you for that?
Yeah, they definitely have to be a client because the checklist that we give is geared towards what you're doing. Mm-hmm. So, like, for example, you have, when you talked about your beer, there are certain things that would be unique to beer that is not going to be unique to coffee, right? Or it's not going to be unique to other types of beverages. So there are certain things, like the checklist is not just for it's not just for crowdfunding in the sense of what crowdfunding is. It's also a checklist to say, okay, you also have to check like these other regulations, because these are regulations in addition to the SEC regulations that you're going to have to know about. So the checklist is a customized listing that we utilize when we are working with our clients. For those of you that want a general crowdfunding checklist, quite frankly, you could just Google that and just see if it's something that you want to just know more about. You're not quite sure what it is. The only other tip that I would say, make sure it's current. And when I say current, make sure it's been like within the last year or so, whatever article you read, because you don't want to read an article from 2012 because a lot has changed. You want to read an article from 2019, 2020, really 2020, because again, remember I told you guys there was a lot of changes that came down and that have been positive. So you want to be able to read something as current as you can find it. You want to be able to read that. And so that's what I would suggest, honestly, for the checklist.
Tanya, let me ask you this. For a startup that's listening right now, right, they may say, you know what, I want to raise this funding because I need to be able to invest in my brand. I need to be able to scale kind of quickly. What are some of the estimations of startup fees for a Reg C, CF? And I know every client is different, but if you had to say a starting point, so just to give them an idea of what they should be looking at as a starting point.
Quite frankly, when I think about traditionally, startups tend to kind of do a lot of things in-house, right? So with that backdrop, you could probably honestly do it conservatively for about $5,000. That would be a number that I would say think about. And when I'm saying that, I'm thinking about that would include legal fees, that would include accounting, and that would, it would include some of the things that you absolutely have to have. Because remember, the platforms get paid out of the raise. You see what I'm saying? So, for people but there are certain things that you must have in place, and you have to pay that. Like that person can't get paid on like out of the raise. You have to have this small amount. But you could probably do it for about that. That would be exceptionally conservative. Someone that could do it for that and be very successful would be a person that has access to, I would say you have access, like you have a great list, or you have access to like, people are kind of already following you. So you have access to people because, there are steps to this. It's not just you get on the platform and the platform is like, okay, we're going to push. No, they want to know, like, you have to have a showing that more than likely you are going to be, like, people are interested in this. And there are ways, again, that we work with you to be able to cross that threshold, so that there's a likelihood that now you get on the platform, because once you're approved by the platform, they're going to put out marketing. They're gonna do a lot of things on the marketing side that's going to assist you, but you still want to make sure that you're also doing your own marketing. And that was the thing that my client did, and why we got it. But then she also did her own marketing, right? So that's why I was saying $5,000. That would be kind of the skin of your teeth. But at the same time, you could definitely get a high reward, once you're able to make the showing.
So listen, guys, I know this was a lot of great information. I know I'm sitting up here salivating because, and it's not like LeTonya and I haven't talked about this a million times before, but because I had some time to think over the weekend, and now I'm hearing it all it's almost like it's for the first time all over again. How can people reach out to you for you to help them? Listen, let me just say this. Let me just back up for a second. I know there are a lot of you who want to go out and you want to do your research, and you should. right? But she just said, do not pull up an article from 2013 expecting the rules to be the same, because they're not. I went on there and I set my profile up on WeFunder way back when. I went to WeFunder when LeTonya and I had this conversation in 2019. The platform was totally different. The regulations were totally different. Everything was different. When I first set it up, it was an easy breeze. It was almost like setting it up on Kickstarter. It was that simple, right? I went back in 2019, not so simple anymore. Everything had changed. So do not go out there and read an article from 2017 and think that it applies to 2021, because I'm almost sure it does not, right? So you want to consult a professional. LeTonya has helped her clients do this. She can help you too. Preferably, she's going to help me get my stuff going. How can they reach out to you, LeTonya?
Yeah, they can reach out to me. They can go to LeTonyaMoore.com, and from there, they can actually connect directly with me. For those that kind of want to follow, they can get with me on Facebook. I have a group called Legalproof Your Business. I always tell people, like, there are a couple of, at least 200 or 300 lawyers.
Right.
There's lawyers, accountants, insurance professionals, everybody in that group. And so any resource that you would need would definitely be there. And I'd love to have you guys in the group, and let me know that you heard about us on Good Morning Gwinnett.
What's the name of that group again? One more time.
Legalproof Your Legacy.
Oh, Legalproof Your Legacy. That's on Facebook.
Yes.
All right, Legalproof Your Legacy on Facebook. LeTonya Moore, thank you, darling. This has been a great interview. I want to bring you back, because now, once we legal-proof this legacy, how do we put it in a trust and protect it and make sure that 100 years after we're gone, the business is still here flourishing? I've seen so many black-owned businesses that started in the early 1900s, the late 1800s, that fizzled completely out. And then I've seen companies like the Rockefellers and the Vanderbilts and the Chases and the Morgans and all those guys, and we still know their names today, like Porsche and Birdseye. I don't even think people know Birdseye was a man. Did y'all know Reese was a man, like Reese's Cup? Like, yeah, that was a man. I love Reese's Cup. He was a man, and we eat his Reese's Cup to this day. That was 100 years ago. We need our legacies to be just like those. But the only way to do that is make sure we have the proper information and the proper help. And we have to stop trying to do everything on our own. Here's my thing. I know me. I do everything. I do a lot of stuff. The things that I be like, man, I got to get some help with that. And if I can't pay people a lot of times, I'm just going to try to do it myself. Sometimes we have to go and borrow that money. I borrowed plenty of money when I launched the dog company, and I paid all of it back, which I'm proud to say. And I remember one of my friends lent me some money, and I sent her an invitation to was it my wedding? Yeah, it was my wedding, right? I sent her an invitation to my wedding, and in that invitation was a check that I owe her because she invested in my company. You got to pay people back, y'all. That's what I'm saying. Like, the people that take a chance on you, if you can, pay them back. And so when she got the invitation to my wedding, she opened it up. She also got a check back for her investment. So, LeTonya, thank you so much. This has been some wonderful, wonderful information. And I appreciate you sharing it with my audience. There's a lot that goes on behind the scenes as an entrepreneur. There's a lot of legal stuff. We didn't even scratch the surface of all things. We're probably going to need to do some kind of class or something. And I say that all the time. LeTonya, I do. But I be so busy. She be busy too. So we haven't gotten around to that yet. But I'll bring her back again to talk more about, this legacy and generational wealth and how to protect your assets and all that stuff at a later date. But for now, make sure to go over and join her Facebook group, because I'm sure there's a lot of great information there and a lot of powerful people there as well. Tonya, thank you so much. You sit by. I'm going to go to my last song, and I'm going to close it out, my words of inspiration. So, Tonya, sit still. You can put your phone on mute. I'll be right back after this song. Stay tuned.
Don't follow any other path but your own. listen to them. Just follow the light. You're almost there. Just open your eyes. It's right there. Just follow the light. You're almost there. Just open your eyes. It's right there. Don't be afraid. Be strong. You're not alone. Take a deep breath and realize. Trust in yourself. I promise you'll find hope. Oh, you'll be alright. You'll be alright. Only your heart can tell you what's right. You really should listen to yourself. The only thing that truly matters now is that you're doing well. You're doing well. Don't fall for it. Don't listen to them, baby. Just follow the light. You're almost there. Just open your eyes. It's right there. Just follow the light. You're almost there. Just open your eyes. It's right It's right there.
Welcome back. Listen, guys, I want to thank you so much. I want to thank again my guest for today, LeTonya F. Moore. She is doing amazing things to help businesses build brands and protect their brands and to help them raise the necessary funding for their brands so they will have a brand. Just because you got a business doesn't mean it's a brand. You got to scale it to be a brand. So I want to thank her again for being my guest today, and thank you all for listening. But before I go, I want to give you my word of inspiration for the day, and here goes. If I'm left high and dry at the end of this wild journey, just taking it is a great feeling. Let me just say that again. If I'm left high and dry at the end of this wild journey, just taking it is a great feeling. Olivia Wilde said that, and she was absolutely right. Listen, y'all know I've been on a mission since for the last 24 years. This is a journey that I don't think I'll ever stop taking. Being an entrepreneur is what I love. It's ingrained in who I am. And I'm about to take a brand new journey with this beer. I know. Y'all hear me say things all the time, but I've had some time to think, and I know my angel is up there shining, looking down on me and guiding me down the path to make this happen. She was one of my biggest fans. My mom was one of my biggest fans, and she know that I love this stuff. She know that I love being an entrepreneur, and I know that she's up there guiding me right now and cheering me on as I take this next journey in my life, which is down now. You know, the beer was to support Good Morning Gwinnett, but I think it's going to take on a life of its own, and that's okay. I'm okay with that. And I'm excited about that. So we're going to be launching our breakfast beer this year. So be sure to follow me as I talk about this journey, because indeed it's going to be a journey. I already know. I've been on Google. I've been on the Google doing research, and oh my God, just the paperwork and the licensing alone is a lot. So, you know, take your journey. Enjoy the ride as you go. Sometimes it's tough, but if you get to the end of that journey, and I don't think we ever get to the end, but if you get to some point of success in that journey, it will be worth every tear you cry, every bit of sweat that fall off your forehead, every door that gets slammed in your face, every person that said, no, you couldn't do it, it'll be worth it. Trust me when I tell you, I've been doing it for 24 years, and I've had plenty of doors slammed in my faces. I've had friends turn their backs on me. I've had friends kick my back in. I've had people look at me like I had two heads with three eyes. I've had it all. And trust me, it has not been easy, but it is something that I love. And so you take that journey and not take the journey with me. Follow me as I do this thing, as I launch this breakfast beer. Follow me on this journey. It's going to be an exciting roller coaster. I already know, but I'm ready for it. Thank you again for listening. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you spent the last hour and 10 minutes with me, and I appreciate you and love you to life for that. Be sure to follow me on Facebook at Good Morning Gwinnett. Follow me on the Twitter at GM Gwinnett. Follow me on Instagram at Good Morning Gwinnett. And also be sure to download our apps from the App Store. If you got an Android or Apple phone, there's an app for that. And if you listen to the show on Apple Podcasts, go to Apple Podcasts and pick your favorite 2 episodes. I'm sure this is going to be one of them. And give it 5 stars. I appreciate you and love you for that. I'll be back again Monday at 10 a.m. God willing. Listen, stay safe. Kiss your family. Tell them you love them. And until next time, make it a great day. Bye, y'all.
You've been listening to Good Morning Gwinnett. Make sure to tune in Monday through Thursday at 10 a.m. Eastern Time to find out what's happening around Gwinnett. If you like this episode, subscribe now and share with your friends. To learn more about Noise Media Network, visit noisemedia.us.